Um, it's running. Oh, hi. Hello, everybody. Yes, I welcome you to this, which is going to be the last lecture of the course. It doesn't mean we stop working. You have lots of writing to do, and I have a lot of looking at what you write and giving you feedback, and we should stay in touch. Also have at least one online tuition scheduled, so I hope you'll use that. Well, exactly that. We planned to have a guest for this lecture, Runa from Homo Game Collective. Unfortunately, she had to cancel, which means we have more time and less stuff to put in. Maybe that's good. You know, what happened the other times I've had lectures, I go over time, so maybe it's good. But also, you have all delivered descriptions for the projects, right? And me and Runa, we would very much like you to do a small presentation. We haven't looked at them enough to give you, proper feedback. So what you'll get here will just be the immediate sort of knee-jerk reactions to what you have. But that's I think that's fine, and we'll go over and give you some written feedback on everything. Does that sound like an okay thing to do? I mean, now that we don't have guests, anybody have reservations? Not many reservations. Okay, that's good. So, press the button. And yeah, that's it. Presenting and discussing the project, identifying challenges, opportunities, and you'll give each other feedback. Go in and if you see something, I mean, as I've said before, one of the most valuable resources you have in a course like this, especially at master level, is each other. You're smart people. You know what you're a lot more in tune with the challenges that other students are going to have than I or Runa or other random people sitting here will have. So yeah, and then but of course we'll give some feedback. So what I'm thinking is we'll just go around the table. You come up, give it's a bit, you haven't been able to prepare for this, but it's good to I think it's good training still, being able to talk, focus around your project. Whether you want to do it with your own computer, just look it up, or just talk about it, that's up to you. I mean, this is a bit of a spur of the moment thing, so I think that's going to be fun. So okay, so over here, you have a project you want to talk about?
Well, we're the ones having the fairy tale application for children. Yeah.
So basically, just take that. I mean, people don't have to come up really, because we can just move the. Would you be more comfortable with sitting down?
Yes.
I think people generally do that. Also, I'm very comfortable when I'm sitting down. So that's fine. And then I can even write some notes while we're doing that. So that's cool.
I don't find it.
You could bring up for the various groups. You could bring up, just show the PDF for the report.
Yeah, that's better.
I can use my computer for that.
Okay, yeah, cool.
I can find point.
Helst ikke. Det er oppsmøret, det.
Det er bare å oppsummere det. Det er bra. For til at alle skjønner det ordentlig.
Hvis du finner bildet, så kan dere bare begynne å starte.
Det er Smart Toddler.
Ja, det er vel det.
Sorry. Doesn't.
Kind of calling it Smart Toddler plus plus, because toddler is up till 3 years old. So plus plus just means above 3.
Okay, so toddler plus plus. Yeah, but that's That's good.
Something else. This.
How come I didn't do that?
The only good part of it.
Yes. Yeah.
There we go.
Excellent. Yep. So who's in charge?
Whoever wrote this, speak.
That would be
So you take charge and you'll just delegate to the others.
Yeah, that's
So you
Go, you read the first 2 bits.
Bits. So the half of the quarter of this. Lol.
Sure. What we have done is presented why we're making the application, and it's a barnehage, Pro that is requesting some useful tools or games for their children. As of now, they're playing Angry Birds and watching Netflix and YouTube, and they don't learn much from it. So the aim is there to learn how to behave in traffic, and do minor games and tasks that relates to math, reading, sorting, coloring. Yeah. The platform they wish to have it on is tablets and smartphones, but mainly tablets, since they have what is called digital day. What is it called?
Digi-dog or whatever. Digi-day.
Yeah, it's something
Digi-day.
sounded like.
It's something Uppland County has issued through all the barnehages. So they're trying to introduce technology at an early age, and that is where our game or app comes in.
Yeah.
Could you scroll down? Could you present your scenario?
So, yeah, tell us about the division, the parts, the sort of the functional.
Do you want to go to the scenarios, or will you talk about this part?
Sure, we could talk about the main idea. Contains storytelling part and interactive storytelling, and following that, there's mini games. That is the interactive part of the storytelling, and the last part is an admin part where the teacher can set up games and check the progress on the children. We'll go next to the scenario. Yeah, could you just explain?
Because these scenarios are pretty interesting. Trying to get a picture of what's actually happening, right?
Yeah, so we have the admin interface, which is for the teachers to use. So they use it to set up the quests they want the children to do. And so this allows that the app can be used in different kindergartens, so it doesn't have to be this exact location. So they can set it up for wherever they are in Norway, and they can use it for inside and outside games, and then can follow the progress of the children. For example, they have to collect leaves or something outside. Then they take a picture of that and store the leaves inside the app, and the teacher can access and see the progress inside the game. So that's the main.
Okay.
That admin interface does.
And how is that visualized? Is it as a map? Is it just a nodes? And how is it presented to children?
It's as a map.
Yeah.
And with nodes, with mini games inside the map.
I think making a quick sort of mock-up of this is probably a good idea. Just some screenshots showing. The more concrete it is.
Yeah, our designer is unavailable at the current time. So
Oh.
he's not here.
But often, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because you've seen our previous mock-ups. So yeah, the main screen, but not the map part.
No. Exactly. So again, because I thought what you had last time was pretty. It had a good sort of aesthetic to it, but here functionality is probably more important. So it'd be good to see how that works. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so, as I said, they can use it for interactive storytelling inside. Outside, if they want to use it for treasure hunt. So the children go for a quest with a tablet and do whatever the mini games ask them to, like counting or collecting things. Yeah, it's the main idea.
And how do you sort of verify that they've actually done that instead of just clicking next? And sort of.
Yeah, that's the admin interface where the teacher can see if they're asked for collecting leaves. It should be a leaf and not a flower. So the teacher will verify each step.
Yeah. There's a very tight sort of. Yeah, the teacher has to be, follow up the progress continually.
Or just after they've done the entire thing, and then go through it with them.
Yeah.
This is wrong. This is wrong.
You failed.
This is kindergarten. No sandbox for you.
Yeah. No, but so it's a good thing to have thought through sort of the whole step-by-step process, because I mean, yeah, you can review it afterwards, but that has some advantages. Obviously, the teacher doesn't have to follow them around, can do something else, be with other children. But then again, having a continuous sort of feedback, that means it's more of a toy, that it's a vector for social interaction. And both of those are valid. I mean, for the thing to be a standalone thing, or for it to be, like I said, more of a toy that you send back and forth between teacher and student, or in this case, children. But I think you have to make it more concrete. And the moment you write down something, you'll see a step-by-step thing, and you see, okay, there's some challenges here. How does that work? A lot of these things are very hidden when you're on that very abstract level. But okay, yeah.
Now it's your part.
Is it? Sure. So then roll, please. Isn't it?
Outside physical treasure. That's one. Yeah.
We cover it. Yeah. Is it interesting to go over the architecture? We're using a client-server model.
Yeah, I think it is. I think definitely it is. I mean, it's because that will present some unique challenges. I mean, would that mean that they have to have internet at all times?
Yeah, we covered that here. That's saying that since there might be a scenario where they're deep in the woods, there might be no internet there. So have an offline storage available on the device as well for the images and whatever needs to be stored at that time. And we cover that and decide on what kind of technology to use and this and that, and have the smart admin panel for the admin, and then we have the tablet as the client, and we have our server.
What I'm sort of missing, what I miss here is a bit of a argument for why would you use this technology instead of another? Why Angular full stack? Why no SQL database instead of something else?
We want to use documents rather than tuples.
That's not the argument, is it?
No, it's the reason. Reason because.
Yeah. So it would be good to know why you want this. What's the advantage? Yeah. There has to be an advantage. Is it because it lowers cost? Is it because it's more user-friendly? Does it relate to how you position yourself in that market? We talked about a bit about that in my last lecture, and you've also covered, what's valuable, what's important to the client and the users, and being able to connect your choice of platform and your choice of technology to what's important to, well, in this case, both the municipality who wants you to make these things, and also to the end user and to yourself. Why have you made this choice? What advantage does it have? And we want to use.
Then another more higher level question is: would the development environment be something that you typically specify here? It's kind of I don't know. I mean, if it's more in terms of, okay, we're going to use a web, JavaScript, that type of architecture, but whether it's Angular or some other framework, I don't know how important that is, because it's.
I mean, yeah, well, that's the thing, right? If you write it down, it should be important. It should give you some kind of advantage. It could be important, but maybe it isn't. Right here, I can't tell, and that's the problem. Because you've written it, so for some reason, I suppose, it's important enough for you to put it there, because you wouldn't put that we will be wearing pants while we develop this product. But for another product, like say wellness key, that could actually be relevant. We want to be in gym clothes at all times, just to feel how it is to be in a gym, just to foster that sort of feeling of being in a gym. Could be. Maybe it doesn't make total sense, but if it's important for some reason, then it should be in. If it's not important, and then it should be sort of, then you should have arguments for it. And if it isn't, then maybe it should be left out, like you're touching.
So the interesting thing is that you mentioned Angular, but you don't mention Bootstrap. But Bootstrap would be a UI thing. It would be something that the users would maybe care about, the fact that you have a kind of, typical Bootstrap UI. But whether you use Angular or whether you use some other framework may not be relevant to the users or to
Is
the
that relevant to the security students? Because
Yeah, that's what we've been thinking about.
Angular has its vulnerabilities, so if they know it's Angular we are using, they know what vulnerabilities come with that. So that's why we describe it.
Maybe, but that's also something. I mean, I have children in kindergarten, right? And there are rules for taking pictures and showing the pictures on the screen, and which pictures you can and not have, and what children you can take pictures of. Will they be taking pictures? What will they do with them? And if that's stored somewhere, is it safe? Is it not safe? It could be. I mean, maybe there are some guidelines you have to follow, and then it's important. If not, it should probably be left out. So that's just, yeah, I think this grew into a big thing, but it was just my basic message was, if it's important, there should be an argument there. It should be tied to what you're trying to achieve. If it's not important, then
So there's a valid argument saying that in this case it is to review the information security risks. But I'm not so sure still. I think that saying that is HTML, JavaScript, RESTful, I mean, I don't know if the risks using Angular is very different from using any other type of framework. But the fact that you use JavaScript and you use REST services, and that is absolutely the architectural thing.
Which is all of what you're speaking of is inside the full stack in Angular, which is RESTful, and it's the Bootstrap, and it has everything inside that package. So yeah, I'm just leaving it out there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, sure. It's nothing more than client-server communication with HTTP, RESTful, yeah. And if there's they've seen that they made a mistake in one of the requests, they can go in and change it, and then it will send a notification to the client and updating the client, getting the new data. So, just in case, oh shit, we wrote 70 lives, not 7. and then update it. So it's 7. So it just sends notification, download new data, and then so you can keep it updated on the time. Yeah.
So you're sending a lot of stuff. Just trying to get my sort of my head around the actual like a use scenario, and I think that's right now just from looking at it really quickly. That's what's missing, like a step-by-step thing from. I'm a kindergarten employee. I want to do something. I want to create a treasure hunt that has to do with spring and Easter. That showcases now what's interesting with Easter. Is that a possibility for me? Can I do that in your system? And what were the steps I would have to go through? And if I made a mistake or if something happened, how would I change it? And then finally, just what do the children do? So just to have sort of a very sort of a step-by-step scenarios would be, I think that would be good for you. And think about it, I mean, I wouldn't detail it much in this document, but you should have a scenario that you can expand on. So have something with a good example, clear. The more pictures you use, the more screenshots, sort of mock-ups you have, even though it's going to be pretty far from what you have. This button has to be here. These two modes has to be in. I think is a good starting point for expanding that into making full detailed use case scenarios.
This is a little bit outside of my general area, but I was kind of feeling that what you're describing is more like a framework than an actual application. It doesn't describe. It says that one of the core concepts is interactive storytelling, but it doesn't give a feel of what is interactive story, an example of that interactive story. What are the details? How would the teachers put together a story if that they are putting together a story, or it's a story already defined and the teachers would pick the story, and what are the interactive parts of the story? None of that. So this looks more like a framework for types of applications, but doesn't describe one type of application in there. I thought that would be useful to understand what you're aiming at.
I think that's very it's very much the same feeling that I have. It's the actual application, what actually is being done, isn't described in clear fashion, I think. So that may not be a problem, but it very likely will be.
You won't be selling this.
No.
You won't be selling this. What you'll be selling would be a package with 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 games and scenarios that you support. So that's why you should start thinking into one of those so that you can show, because that's what's going to be developing, and you need to, I think, show to the investors what type of stories you're thinking about, what that will look like in reality. I think this is, you won't attract many investors, I think, by just doing this way. There are too many white spots.
Yeah, I think it's not a clear picture in my head. And you should even take it out of my head. You should show me, like, these are the screenshots that we pretend that we made, right? And then I said, oh, okay, I can imagine that I want to reach out and click that, because I know what that button is going to do, and I can imagine what happens when I click it. But of course, it's just a mock-up, so I can't. To be a little closer to, an actual, like you said, an actual app. So I think that's your main challenge, just for looking at it like really quick now, because it looks like you made some decisions when it comes to technology, and it seems to me they're all well thought out, that it's all valid, and you have a structure here. But like you said, it's not enough of an app. It's more of a framework. It's so putting it there where it's actually where it meets the user. I think that's your biggest challenge. And the sooner the better, making something, because what I like from my experience when working with games, a lot of people, they will start with they'll make an engine first. Okay, we're going to make a first-person shooter. Oh, well, we'll need an engine for that. That needs to have different kind of functionality. And it needs to have camera and a renderer and all these kinds of things. And they'll make that. And that'll take years. And then when they've made that, there's still no game. Instead of saying, we want a first-person shooter that is cooperative, where you have another person that you're helping them out all the time. If they get shot, you have to run over and heal them. And then you're starting, there's already some scenarios there. Your friend is shot, and he's in cover, but you have to get out of cover to get to him. How's it gonna? And then you start thinking about what is the game mechanics, and then going back and see what kind of structure do we need for that. Is this going to be online? Well, then we need all these kinds of things. Then we need a server, and then we need a structure, and then we need clients, and then we need compensation for lag and all these kinds of things. But if you say, well, that's not important, we'll just want people sitting next to each other in the living room, you don't need that. And I think you're close to making something that can contain a lot of different products, but it's not tailored to one product. And you may find out later that you've made a framework that is very flexible, but you don't need that flexibility for the product that actually you can make in that time frame that we're talking about right now.
I think we need to move to the next group.
I think so. But thanks. It's good to have things. Is that you?
Yeah, is that me? I'm actually well. Yesterday we were talking with Simon, and he told us that, particularly in our group, there are a division, because there are people in integration project and there are people in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And for people in entrepreneurship, it was not required to deliver this, but he encouraged me to deliver my idea for the other project that I'm doing in another course to be evaluated in a security, or to have a security evaluation.
Yeah.
So that's why I gathered everything that I was developing for the other project and delivered it individually, because that's just for the idea.
Okay.
And okay, so well, in that case, well, I was working like in the development of a platform that makes use of the Wellness Key and Wellness Cloud infrastructure that is already implemented with some gyms around the world. So the idea is that this data is already collected by the system, and people going to the gyms are getting information regarding their calories, their time spent during the exercise, the performance, like what was the quality of their exercise. So all these things can be, all this data can be managed by algorithms, and then take out that information to make sense for the users and to give a better experience. Because something will have been, well, something is repeatedly told right now, is that people is focusing on the quantified self, all the wristbands, the smartwatches, everything that is created to the quantified self is right now just done to give numbers that doesn't really enhance the experience that the users. They don't want to know really about numbers. They want to get some feedback about what they do. So they don't want to be constantly sharing, oh, today I did 20 repetitions and tomorrow I did 21. No, they want to know how much they have gotten better, how much progress they have done. So making sense of that data is one of the goals of this application. And for that case, another thing that I concluded that will be useful for the platform will be making sure that the people is having fun at the same time that they interact with this data. So including gamification elements will actually improve the experience, or at least make it more engaging for the users. And in that sense, there are many features that I wanted to include. Yeah, well, that's in overall the idea. I did hierarchical task analysis of the things that people usually should do with register into the gym and having access to this platform. So when they go to the gym, they obviously will be right now with gyms that support the infrastructure that has the wellness key implemented for their routines. So they create a profile that they receive the wellness key from the gym, and then they start to create the profile. There are also things as body analysis and physical evaluations that can be done, that actually are done in the gym. So with this information, people or specialists create programs, tailored programs to the user, and then they start out to their exercise with the wellness key. My idea is to take all that information and make it available in a platform that automate that part, and at the same time create profiles for the people, and they start to interact with the platform.
I think what I like here is that you've sort of gone through the steps again, like how do you register? What kind of things goes into that process? I think that's very very positive.
So yeah, so the first one will be like obviously getting access. The second one will be interacting with the collected data from the workout, and then how are the steps for you to get into the machine, put the wellness key, get the data, get notifications in the mobile, and receive the feedback from your workout. Because if there is something that life sucks at, is giving feedback. So giving a platform and an interface that creates that interaction for the users will make them commit more with their workout and their exercise.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. You don't do your homework when you're 12, and then when you're 18, it bites you in the butt, and you can't get into the school you wanted.
Exactly.
So yeah, like you said. But that ties into the sort of what I'm sort of feel is missing here. And you talk about badges, levels, points, but what do these points do? What do the badges do? What is it?
Yeah, I think I didn't include two graphical stuff in this. I have those, and here if you need, I can show them. I created some user scenarios and use cases for some activities that you could do in the app, just to exemplify what the people interact with.
Again, they're a bit general. The application shows detailed information about the quest that you should click on. Instead of just pick one, just say something. Run 100 meters. That's the request, right?
Exactly.
But you should make some examples so that people know where you're going, and then you get. So at the bottom here, the application activate request and mark it as ongoing.
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, it's the last.
Application activate request and mark it as ongoing. It as ongoing.
Yeah. But I'd like to see. Okay, so when that quest is done, what happens? What do you get? A badge, but then that badge is what? What does it? What is it designed to do?
The thing with this system is that it's based on an MMORPG game style. So as a normal game RPG, what you do is like do a series of quests that are no more than following steps to get rewards in exchange. So the same logic can apply of this game mechanics can apply to exercising if the right experience or the right interface is provided to the users. So what do you have in an RPG? Hey, you want that sword? Go and kill 20 wolves in the forest. Well, in this app, if you want that badge, go and do 30 sessions, 30 repetitions of that exercise that you want so much, and then you get something. That's the feedback that the people is lacking up for exercise.
But I think you should map things like classes, things like quests, and map them too. And it's very. I mean, to me at least. I mean, it may not be the same to everyone. So you have to tailor these things to different audiences. But to me, I understand MMOs. A lot of people understand what an MMO is. So you have to it's like this, but over here.
Yeah, exactly. That's
so and what are the classes? Is that something? Is a class like I'm a weight loser. I'm a person who wants to lose weight. That's my class.
There are classes
And then I
like
get
those.
quests that are suitable for someone of my weight to lose weight. And another class could be, I want to be an up bulker. I want to be somebody who has, who's strong.
Yeah,
I get those kind of quests.
The thing is, those classes are based on the theoretical background of battle test and the people that, what they are looking for in the games. Their classes will be differentiated and will be also, the programs will be tailored to their.
But then putting that in, making things explicit. It may not be what you end up with, but just so that somebody can say, oh yeah, I get it, but, and then they can sort of challenge you on things. And when they do, you have to think, okay, this fits or it doesn't fit, and you go together with your team.
I have other file to share, but I was supposed just to talk with the security guys, and then if they will revise this, they will have totally a lot of questions, and the idea is for them to be contacting me, and I will start.
But again, security, I mean, that's again talks about information. What kind of information goes in? And again, I think when you make a scenario, it becomes very clear: is some of this stuff sensitive? Do you at any point say that I have diabetes?
Yeah.
Is that sensitive? Do you have to treat it in a different way? Is it a problem? And you have to, so the moment you make things more explicit, you expose weaknesses and you expose problems that aren't immediately evident when you talk about things as a quest or a platform.
For that reason, I was creating the metaphor of for Wing or Dream Quest as a World of Warcraft. Based on the battle test, I described what Shivers, Killers, Social Artists, and Explorers will find in this game. And then I started to map out a sketch or a mock-up of the application and how that they should be used by the user when they interact with this. So the idea is to create a whole interface that integrates the needs of particular personalities of the game and also creates a seamless experience, because the idea is for this data to be constantly collected by the app and be notified to the user. But the user doesn't really need to go to the app and play the game. They just need to go to the gym and get their things done. So that's the plan.
And
yes, I don't know which is this the next.
that'll look good.
This one.
No,
Well, the idea is they are working with me in the project for entrepreneurship, but
They have a separate.
Simon told us that entrepreneurship don't need to deliver this program. This is just for integration, and integration will be in charge with.
That was not my understanding, but okay.
That's what we were told, and yesterday I was with.
This is not in the integration project. This is for the innovation course. So.
Well, that's what they told us, and so especially because some people in our group had an integration project, and we had like two guys were in integration, 2 girls were in nothing, not either integration or other project.
But this exercise is going to be having next Friday is for this course, information security and interaction design. It's nothing to do with integration project. That's completely different. So sorry if Simon told you something else.
Okay.
That's
You have to deliver because I also have the sign with him, so you have to deliver again.
If that's the case, well, they are in there. I had the presentation for the group. I had we everywhere, and I waited until the last second to deliver this.
Right.
To receive people that want to.
This is the joint.
This is the same project that we're working, so we can integrate.
The whole group should be behind this because this is a group that's going to be in touch with information security
Okay,
and interaction design. Because the integration project is something different. This is totally different. This is something on the side. This has nothing to do with this exercise.
Yeah.
Sorry
So
for that confusion.
the group will be back.
Because starting actually working on that, but contact and then get the answer. So just
Sorry?
he was starting working on that in a group. Me and Daniel and
We have
available person.
Okay.
But we get the answer like that, so we just.
That's fine.
But we are
we'll
going to
sort it out.
deliver
But for that next exercise, so the exercise is going to have in next weekend. It's the whole group.
with information security integration design,
Yeah.
because integration project is something different. It's nothing to do with this picture at all.
Okay, but we should still comment on your thing, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, because that project will be in there. So there should be more group members on it. So should we move to the next one? Yeah, I guess this is the last one that we have members of here. So this is the last, and then we can have a break after that.
Is there anyone who feel left out after we've taken this? No? No, good. Okay, yep, let's hear it.
Okay, so we just written about our project and described that it is a game on a smartphone, and it's like Aegis, and it's for learning new curriculum in class or in school. And we tell about how you're supposed to play the game with the cards with the word on it, and you should describe the word to the other player, and he has to guess the word, and you get points for guessing right. And we also have talks about the hint buttons, and when the time is up, you get a page where you have all your words, and you can click on them and get the description on each word.
I think what you have in here is pretty good, but the structure isn't fantastic. Like, this game could be used in many courses, but it's mainly developed for first-year new nurses at the school in New. That should be a little higher up, I think. I mean, establishing what this is, what it does. I think also that whole flow here, where the player can click a hint button, this could be up to 3 times, and the game is over, etc. That should probably be a list, like numbered list, so that it's easy to see step by step what's happening, go through it, and if there's an alternative flow, okay, I can see that.
So let me give you a comment to that, because when you write a report, submit a report, try to make it readable. I had one example where a master thesis, and where the examiner started to say, oh, it was hard to get through. I almost fell asleep because you had these paragraphs, whole page paragraphs, no lists, no indentions, no figures, nothing. And he almost fell asleep in the middle there. And it's very hard to follow you. And so break it up, smaller pieces, lists, figures, whatever. Because if the examiner falls asleep, he's not going to be very happy. I can tell you so much.
Yeah, because I think looking at it right now, the content is fine. It's just the structure of it is sort of. Again, looking but the question I'm asking all the way down here is, but what kind of questions? What kind of, for whom is it? And then you answer it here. You could have already answered at the top.
Yeah.
Just put that sentence in. Oh, okay, I get it now. It could be used for other things, but we're focused on this now. Okay, then I don't have any questions, and I can see. Okay, then I want to know what happens. And you describe that, and if you describe sort of step by step, it'll be easier to follow. So it's the content
I think it's kind of the same comment that we had to everyone. Be quite specific. Start from one very specific case and not describe this general something that no one really gets to understand what it is. And
it's also something that I've seen quite a lot with working with games. And then you could do this, and it's possible. And you get and players could level up several. We could make it so the player level up several characters, but we could also have it so they only have one and have to play for the others. And it's like, just don't. Just say one thing. Because if there's another idea, take the best idea and go with that. And because anything else is just going to make it all fuzzy, and then you can go back and say, well, what I don't get what this sounds. This gameplay is maybe a bit boring, or maybe this functionality. Oh yeah, but we have more characters. But you said that you might have more characters. You've already sort of made that. Just often because you have it in the back of your head, you don't solve problems because you think there's an out, and that's very scary. And of course, with games more than with a lot of other software, you can do anything. I mean, the game could be about anything. Gravity could work upwards. When you shoot people, they become flowers and happy, and it doesn't matter. You can do anything. So just being specific and defining things is very important. But also in something like this, you have to be specific and remove doubts as soon as possible. But okay. Sorry, that was a long rant from us.
Yeah, so we are also talking about the web page we're going to use as an administrator page for the teacher to add the dictionaries with words from the curriculum if they want to, and the students can subscribe to the teacher and download the dictionaries to their phones. Yeah. Just
here's another thing that just doesn't add, in my mind, very much value. Is like add the dictionary in some sort of folder. Why some sort of? That just makes things fuzzy for no reason. I mean, it's going to be a folder, right? It's going to be a folder. Just don't make it more unclear. I'm starting to get doubts here. Some sort of folder. They haven't thought this through. It's going to be some sort of folder, but I don't know what it is. Maybe it's not really going to be a folder after all. I get worried.
Or as in the case of Fronter, you have different types of folders. If that's what you mean, you have different types of folders, then that could be more clear. And then you list the examples of types, like a handling folder or an information folder, or
it's like, here's a quest for you folder. The teacher pushes it onto the students, and here's here's some extra stuff you can have fun with that the students go and pull from, right? Could be all kinds of things, but if you have ideas, write them in, and if you don't, don't make it more unclear than it is by using words that sort of really it makes me doubt that what's so folder? Well, why is that? Is that a problem? I start worrying for no reason.
Scenario.
Okay, so yeah, so this first scenario is in the classroom, when the teacher says to the students that they're going to take an hour and play with the app. So the teacher separates the pupils into groups of 4, and they can make 2 teams, and they start playing the game. Yeah, and in scenario 2, they is more when the students are at home or not in class. When they want to study for an exam, they sit down or 2 students sit down and play the game to get more understanding of the curriculum.
This is actually, I think, pretty good. I like the first one. Well, I said, make a list, but that one works okay. That's like written out like that. I mean, so it's not a hard and fast rule. Only thing is, why not be more specific? Just when you're using those students, use words that describe. Pick a topic, because you're gonna have to write about it anyway, right? Because you're putting this thing in. So the topic is, I don't know, hernias. So they have all the words about a hernia, and then you describe some of the cards. Show a picture of what shows up on the screen, and then this a word comes up. I don't know much words about hernia, but it's just a random word, and they're trying to explain it and how that process goes. So there's a concrete something there for me to say, oh, hey, wait a minute. That means that if people don't describe it well, they get more points. I can see problems, for instance. The more concrete your scenario is, the easier it is to see that, oh, it's some challenges, some things here. So, and the next one, or the third one here, use the application repeatedly, looks through, just say, even put a name in here. Hannah has used the application repeatedly. She looked through her game history that contains an overview of previous games she participated in. And use her also in the first scenario. So Hannah can see that she only scored 50% on the hernia test, on the hernia dictionary, and whereas she has scored 60 or more in everything else. And so she decides that she should probably go back and do that one again to get better at learning it as a topic. That makes it very concrete, and you can see the flow. One scenario leads into another. I can see how they're connected, and that will also let you see if this scenario is connected to that scenario, how does information flow between them. So it makes it easier. But yeah.
I don't think system architecture, you don't need to discuss that here, so I think we'll...
No, but I mean, it's good that you had it, but like I told the others, a bit of want. Why is this? Why is it a good thing to do it in this specific way? Like the game engine used to develop this game is Unity 5 because there's a reason for that, right? What is that reason? We're familiar with the Unity 5.
Or wanted to learn it.
Want to learn. You want to see what, or you know, it has some new features now. Or, it has really fat.
Or market position or whatever.
Market. It can easily deploy to PC, Android, and even game consoles. Game consoles not very relevant for this, maybe, but it could be. Maybe you want to go down to Ouya, but I don't know. But you should know, and you should say something about it. What does it? Because I think as an investor, knowing that you use my money on Unity 5 and that's going to be a good choice, you're not just wasting that money because you want Unity 5, right? I mean, Unity 5 is not a big deal because that's not very expensive, but take something like back in the day, if you wanted a license for 3D Studio Max, it cost 300,000 kroner. So we're going to use 3D Studio Max to make our figures, and then we're going to convert them to sprites, flat. Does that make sense? Probably not. It would be cheaper to ship in people who make clay models. You can go to China and get people and ship them, and they can work for a year making clay models, and you can take pictures of them, and it would be cheaper, right? And they make clay models. Like take a game like Doom, they did that. I don't know if they get them from China, but it's just thinking, why is that a good thing? If you say later we want to be able to make 3D games, so we're investing in the firm, okay, that's a good reason. So, but why? So just explaining your choice is always a good thing. And doesn't have to make a longer sentence, really. Very often, knowing why you've chosen something makes it easier to formulate what you want. So yeah, that's. Do you have any feedback on each other's stuff? Because I think
we don't really know what the other groups are.
But the three groups here, there were three groups, and you have all presented. So
we can talk now that we know more.
Yeah, because very quickly, if you have any comments on what other people have done, this is it's a good time to say, because in our comments we probably overlooked something.
And yeah, and remember that the purpose here is to train you into thinking in innovation processes. And if you remember the information process that we had last time, it's very, very repetitive. I mean, you need to come up with an idea, you need to discuss it, you need to improve it, and constantly go through and refine the ideas. So that's where we are. The more input, the more questions that the teams need to answer, the better chance it is as a good idea, or a good proposal in there, and it's not just the first idea.
And that's why we would love to have Runa here, because at Homo Game Collective, that's a bit of how they work. They have lots of companies, small companies, but they're all making games, and they all care about games. They all have feedback for each other, play each other games, they come with ideas, they help each other out. And that's also what we're trying to talk a bit about, fostering something like that. And you should also go in and communicate with the other groups and see if there's something that you think, yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. Ask, why is it that way? If you have an idea how it could be better, you don't lose anything by telling, by helping their idea get better, because you're not working on that idea, you're working on something else, right? So you can't pursue, if you thought that you know, I can do that better. I have an idea that I can do a better Alias game than they can because I have all these ideas in my head. But you're not working on an Alias. You're working on the kindergarten tablet thing. Yeah. So it doesn't cost you anything to share that and say, hey, what if you did? But maybe they already thought of that. And thought, well, we thought of that, but something with the structure, something with the requirements, and you realize that, oh, okay, yeah, it wasn't such a good idea. You learn, they learn, everybody's discussing, and you create an environment where it's okay to throw out ideas and to comment on each other's stuff, and in general, just improve the quality of both the discussion and the products. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm open to any comments for my idea, but the thing I had some to ask or to comment about theirs is one of the things I don't get that yet, the game or the process of the game, of the what's called the objective of the game is to take the toddlers to experience a walk in the outdoors or, while they are completing some relevant tasks. Or what is the game objective?
It's like as you said, like teacher giving a task and students are children go through that, for example, collecting the leaves.
Yeah, but that's what for example for the leaves or flowers, what is the point of it? What they learn, what they're looking for.
In one sentence, it's just treasure hunt. Really, that's the word, treasure hunt. You set up the treasure map because we saw the kid. We went to the kindergarten here the other week, and they created their own treasure maps on paper, and they hid stuff in the kindergarten, and they drew maps. So this is what we're doing, just digital, learning them how to use the digital tools, this and that. So the teacher can also go and create this treasure hunts and then go out either inside the kindergarten or outside. So you get the map of the different objects you're supposed to find. Let's say collect 3 leaves and 6 stones, and then you take pictures of 3 different leaves, 6 different stones, and find cones and whatever. And
But I think what you're getting at is what are the learning goals? Right? What do they learn about these rocks?
Technology as tools is the main objective, and then you get all the other different things such as shapes and colors and numbers, sorting, and lots of sorting. But
because as you throw about throwing out ideas, I was thinking while they were describing theirs, that there is now a thing that is happening in Finland that is for toddlers or for really low levels of education. What they are focusing on the students is to actually teach them how to type letters before even writing.
Before writing them, yes.
Writing them.
Because I mean, I think that's very interesting because just manually being able to make a shape is hard for children. They say they don't have that body control. So typing is often that is shown to in some tests to be they can write better, more meaningful things faster if they type instead of
More approach is a bit more learning while having fun, learning by play. Lär med lek. So we're not doing the stuff. You sit down, write.
No. But I'm just thinking, it would be good if you had it sort of founded in some learning theories. Have you looked at that? Like constructivism, proximal zone of learning, these kinds of things.
Never heard of these words.
Never heard of these words. Because
I understand some of these words separately.
Yeah, because that's a typical downfall of many learning applications. Is they're made by technologists who don't know how learning works. How do people learn? How can you make something for people to learn if you don't know how to?
Discussing about these words you've been using there.
Zone of proximal development was used.
Yeah.
You did hear about zone of proximal development.
Okay. I'm honest at least. Yeah.
No, you did hear it.
Yeah.
You may have forgotten it.
Yeah. I heard it.
Now Simon know what to ask you on the exam.
Okay. Everyone's gonna get that.
No, it's just that having a framework where you say they are learning by making things, for instance, constructions. Like your children will not learn as well from looking at something on a blackboard as they will from actually making something. That's one theory, and saying that we want to pursue that, that's a good thing. That's something that really helps when you're looking, especially for a product like, I'm going to point there to a wall, which has nothing on it, but a product like yours, which I'm guessing the people who pay for it are going to be government, right?
Yeah.
In
Norway, of course.
Yeah. So somebody's going to check off taxpayer money used on this. And in my experience, working things where you have taxpayer money being used for things, they want sort of documentation and research, and so that they can just say, oh, look at the research. It says, this is good for children. Put some fancy names on there. Oh, Piaget, good. Vygotsky. If you don't know these names, you can Google them. It's not us.
Learning theories. If you read the Wikipedia on learning theories, and you get those two. You get
and it's good. You don't need that. The Wikipedia page for things are often like everything you need to get most of the way.
It doesn't give you, and you do have to be careful, because I did ping a PhD I was reviewing, because I read a statement and it went, hey, I'm not sure that's true, right? And so I searched for that statement and found the statement on Wikipedia. He hadn't referenced Wikipedia, but he just kind of copied what was written there and cited the paper. And I didn't believe he had read the paper. So I went and I read the paper that he was citing, which didn't say what the Wikipedia page said it said, right? So the Wikipedia page was wrong. They had misinterpreted the original research. And so so the PhD student got the, I don't think you read that paper, even though you are citing that paper, because that's not what that paper says. I think you're citing the wiki article rather than the original research, and you shouldn't do that.
This is what you get when you have peer review from people who have what do you tenure?
Of course, we're all permanent staff attending. So but no, you get your people who are like a little pedantic on actually getting it right.
No, but I like that. I wasted many hours doing the same thing. I don't think you read that. I want to read that.
Actually, okay. So, can I interrupt with the what's happening next week?
Yes, certainly. I think that was.
Or should we have a break first, or do you want?
We can do a break first and then come back and talk.
Break first, go on. Yeah, people probably.
I talked to Stuart, and we're working out what's happening with the information security people, and we emailed back and forth with the students and what we're going to be doing next week and what you guys will be doing this week. So so we'll have a break. We'll come back and we'll discuss that. Okay.
Okay. 10-minute break. Is that enough?
Yep. Well, we'll have to discuss.